For business owners looking to buy a business or looking at an opportunity to add on to their company, often they'll get a due diligence done. We're involved in assisting clients with financial, commercial and taxation due diligence. We also coordinate legal due diligence. The due diligence process is usually done once you've secured a binding position on price, and that might be subject to a detailed due diligence. And it's designed to identify any material issues which are going to impact the proposition that you're looking at. I'd have to say there's probably three key tips for due diligence, but every due diligence is different and it needs to be approached differently. But there's one overriding tip, and that is if the vendor of the business that you're conducting the due diligence on is not freely prepared to release information, then that's a bit of a warning sign. Often when you've got to a due diligence stage, you've signed a confidentiality agreement, so the vendor should have confidence that the material they're sharing is going to be held in confidence. And if there's still information being held back, some of that might be reasonable, but sometimes that can be desensitised. For instance, customer names don't necessarily need to be shared to do due diligence to a particular level on the strength of a customer base. So that's one of the key issues. Next layer down is if there are major discrepancies with financial data and business data. And I cite an example here where we looked at sales of a company. It was a manufacturing business, and if we looked at them by customer versus what was on the profit and loss statement, there was a 20% variance in that data, and that throws up a concern which needs to be looked at. Look, due diligence is a big issue, and we've written a lot about due diligence, and I'd encourage people to look at some of our ebooks and blogs on the other aspects of due diligence. But the final key tip is essentially be prepared to walk away, even in a due diligence process, if the numbers or the proposition just isn't adding up versus what you thought it was. Know your limits, know your line, know where the deal is a good deal and where the deal's going sour. And make sure you use that due diligence process to identify those areas of break, if you like, in order to ensure that you are getting a good deal in the acquisition that you're looking at.